Hey everyone, let's get right into it. I saw the recent Australian release of a movie that came out, I'm not too sure, a while ago for most people in other countries, but my mother and I saw Richard Jewell, which is a movie about a guy of the same name who saves lives during the Centennial Olympic Park bombing, but is accused by both the media and law enforcement of actually being the bomber himself. And the movie follows what happens to him as the media and the authorities just want to nail this motherfucker to the wall. So Richard Jewell himself is a man who's very pro law enforcement. He's been in it before, but fired. He's always wanted to be around it, even if it's like a security guard somewhere. He just wants to do some kind of law enforcement role. He's a big, heavy-set man, much bigger than me. And I liked that it was actually played by a big dude. No actor who's famous getting fat for the role, no bat suits or anything like that. They got a fantastic guy named Paul Walter Hauser to play Richard Jewell. He doesn't have one of those character actor faces, so I wasn't really familiar with his work. But after seeing him in this, I'd really like to see him in something else. I think he's a really good actor, and hopefully this is a launching pad for him to go on and do some really cool shit. So Richard Jewell respects the police and the authorities, and he pretty much just rolls over and lets them investigate, talk to him, all this kind of stuff. And the way he treats them is definitely not the way they treat him. They think he's fucking guilty, he's done it, and they're going to go after him no matter what. The way that changes his life, he's all over the news, people hate him. His mother, played by the wonderful Kathy Bates, who's wonderful in this, go figure, her life is affected too in ways that feel unreasonable, even when Richard himself gives reasons for why the authorities are doing things. A couple of the characters in this movie, and plus me and my mother, were just like, dude, stick up for yourself. Like, come on, stand up for yourself, man. There are a few other really memorable performances here too. We've got Sam Rockwell, who I always like. He's really good in this one, go figure. Now, he plays a sort of friend, ex-work colleague of Richard Jewell's, and he's a lawyer, and he helps Richard Jewell on this case. Also, I really love their interactions, because he's trying to tell him, Richard Jewell, no, don't talk, don't give them anything, look, don't roll over, you've got to actually fight back. And I really like how their relationship develops throughout the film. And then you've got John Hamm and Olivia Wilde. So you've got Olivia Wilde's character, who pretty much represents the media, and then you've got John Hamm's character, who represents, I guess, he's the face of the law enforcement side of things. Now, I'm not sure how accurate or anything like that this is to real life. I just took it as a movie based on a true story, and when it's based on, I know they're probably going to group some characters together into one character. I know they're not going to get everything right, but I think the story they told here was a good one. I think it was one that was important, because he's a guy and his mother who got their lives ruined over this, and their lives changed. I think it would have been worse if it had happened today. This was 1996 when that happened. If it happened today, you would have had shit like fucking Facebook, fake news, Twitter, all that social media bullshit. And, man, that would have been, I think that would have been even worse. The kind of, the shitstorm and the kind of suffering that Richard Jewell and his mother went through. I'm making the movie seem quite down. It's not a very depressing movie. It's a very interesting one. It goes for 2 hours and I was never bored, which is good. Like, I say that every review. It was never boring, or this part was boring. Now, I don't care how good your script is. I don't care how good a director you are. I don't care about anything like that. If you're boring, you haven't done something right. And I don't care if it's an unboring 5. You know, I don't care if I rate a movie that doesn't bore me as a 5 or a 10 or whatever. Bore factor is important. This movie didn't have one. It was 2 hours. It had a pretty general slow pace. It didn't really shift in terms of speeding up or slowing down. Just had this nice constant pace, and it let the story unfold. It was as long as it needed to be, and I think it didn't need to be shorter. Didn't really need to be longer. I think it covered all the bases pretty well, and I really enjoyed this. I really liked Paul Walter Hauser. I really like the character interactions. It was just a surprisingly really well done, solid film. I haven't heard anyone really talk about this, and that's a shame because I think people should go see it. I think it's a good time. Just I know the subject matter's a little shit. Like it's like me saying 1917 is a good time. It's an enjoyable experience to watch. Is probably how I should phrase that. Now, Richard Jewell is not as good as 1917. I think few movies will turn out to be as good as 1917, but I enjoyed it. And it's a gem, a jewel that you guys might want to seek out. I give it an 8 out of 10. Well directed, well shot. The performances were really good. The story was engaging. I had to jump onto Wikipedia after this to go, oh, what happened? What happened next? What happened next? Which is always a good sign. You know, you want a movie that people will at least think about or talk about. So an 8 out of 10 for Richard Jewell. Might be going to the movies again this weekend to see something with some furry blue douchebag. Not confirmed, so don't lock that in. But I do have other plans. I've got an ever-expanding list of shit to watch. So, like it, dislike it, subscribe, share, all that shit. Join me on Twitter. And I'll see you next time. Thank you very much.